everyone and welcome to another episode of Masala Chai and Chess with Nisha. Today is the birthday of a very special friend, a friend for more than 2 decades, with whom I've had the most fun moments, and very interestingly, our names are very similar and to some extent also our playing style. Today is the birthday of International Master Eesha Karavade, one of the best female chess players of our country. Isha became a woman grandmaster at the age of 18. She has won the Commonwealth Gold in the year 2011. She has represented India in 4 Chess Olympiads in the year 2010, 2012, 2014 and 2018. And she has been part of the Indian team for more than a decade. Isha is a very hardworking player, and that is why she is also a very strong theoretician. And my personal observation is that she is very good at adapting to change. So she is very quick to learn new lines and to implement it in her own games. This year, there was a big change in Isha's life. She became a mother to a very beautiful princess. Here's wishing Isha a very happy birthday and lots of happiness in her life. Isha is very strong in opening theory. She works very hard, has an in-depth preparation in a lot of openings, and she keeps deviating her openings, and this confuses her opponents a lot. The best of players find it very difficult to crack her on a good day. In fact, it is very easy to go wrong against her in the opening. Let's start with a miniature win by Isha against Sarah Hult, a woman grandmaster from Germany. This game is from the World Rapid Championship in the year 2017. So Isha is white, knight f3. This is Isha's trademark opening, although nowadays she also plays 1e4. Knight f6, c4, c5. So we have the symmetrical English. Knight c3, d5, c into d5, knight into d5, e4. And in this position, the normal move is to go knight b4. But here her opponent played knight f4, and this was a big blunder in the game, and this was punished by Isha. So against her, it's just not possible for opponents to relax in the opening. One mistake and the game can be over. d4 was played here, and now the knight on f4 is attacked. So black said, okay, I capture the c3 knight, so I take c into d4. After bishop f4, black took d into c3. But here, after queen into d8, king into d8, long castles check, king e8, here came a final blow. The last move of the game. Yes, this game got over in 10 moves, and the opponent is a woman grandmaster with a rating of 2405. Here Isha played bishop into b8, removing the potential defender of the e8 king, because a knight could go to d7 or c6 and defend the king. But after bishop b8, opponent resigned, because after rook into b8 there comes bishop b5, and the black king has nowhere to go. Black is just lost here. It was a rapid game, but still winning in 10 moves against a strong woman grandmaster is really amazing. In this game, white is Bhakti, our national champion. We already had an episode on her. And black is Isha. This game is from the Asian Women Championship in the year 2015. d4, d5, c4, c6, c into d5, c into d5. So we see the slab exchange on the board. Bishop f4, knight c6, and here white played knight c3. e3 is more popular in this position, but Bhakti played knight c3, which is also very natural. And Isha went for an interesting sideline here. She played the move e5. Instead of e5, the move knight f6 is more common in this position, but let's go to the game. e5 was played. Bishop into e5. Instead, if white takes d into e5, then black has d4. So white took bishop into e5, knight into e5, d into e5, d4. And here, I will give you two choices as white. So if you're white here, will you choose the move knight e4, or will you first insert a check with queen a4? So you have two choices, knight e4 or queen a4. Which one will you go for? You can pause here and make a decision, a very important juncture in the game. One of the moves is just bad here. So you need to make a decision. In the game, white played queen a4, and this natural move is a blunder. It's so unbelievable, but yes, it's a blunder. And this is a very important, very interesting position. It's my masala chai moment. If you are black here, what will you play as black? Here, Isha played a very nice move, b5. By the way, coming back to the position, knight e4 would have been a better move than queen a4. And we'll see why queen a4 was bad, as you know. Knight e4 would be just a normal move here. So, queen a4, and as I mentioned, b5 was the unexpected blow in this position, after which white's position just collapses. White took knight into b5. If instead queen into b5, then bishop d7, and we see that two pieces of white are under attack, so white loses material. So Bhakti took knight into b5, and Isha played bishop d7. And Isha's idea is to play a6, and she's winning this piece on b5. So already a very difficult position for white. Black is almost winning here. White played queen a6 to stop black's a6. Bishop b4 check, king d1. And here we see that black has given up two pawns, but white's king is stuck in the center of the board. And if you notice, all the white's king side pieces are not developed. White is very much underdeveloped. Rook b8 attacking the knight. Knight a3 was played. Here knight e7, knight f3, castles. It's very difficult for white to play this position with the king in the center. Very difficult position for white. Rook c1, rook b6, queen c4. Isha took bishop into a3, b into a3. She played rook c6 here. Queen d4. Actually, what she is doing is she exchanged rook into c1, the only developed piece of white, almost, like, you know. Otherwise, the rook on h1 is not developed, bishop on f1 is not developed. So the only active looking piece she's exchanged, and now she takes control of the game. King c1, queen c7, king d1, rook c8. So complete control of the c file for black. And this game also tells us that development is very important in chess. Here, white is 3 pawns up, but the extra material is just useless for white. And very important is that in one d4 openings, white develops the king side much later than one e4 openings. So white has to be careful about his development, because like in this game, if he's underdeveloped, it could be a problem. Queen b2 was played to stop queen c1 checkmate, bishop a4 check, king e1, rook b8, attacking the queen, queen a1, the queen has to control b1 square, queen a5 check, knight d2, and here came the final move, bishop c2, black is threatening to play rook b1 and black wins the queen. This is a model game which shows the dangers of underdevelopment. Very nice game by Isha. The next game is from the Aeroflot Open A in Moscow from the year 2018. This was the tournament where Isha was the last seed. She had a rating of 2386, but she was the last seed, and this speaks about how strong the tournament is. And in spite of her, seeding, she started the tournament very well. She had a score of 2/3, and she was the best performing Indian in the tournament in the presence of the best Indian players. In this game, Amin Tabatabai was white and Isha was black, and I have big respect for Isha's opponent. This was the tournament I saw Amin for the first time, and I was very impressed by one of his games which he played there. It was such a nice game that it inspired me to start writing my own blog. I wrote about the experience of seeing a very beautiful game. This player, the white player from Iran, he made a grandmaster norm in this tournament in spite of this loss against Isha, and 2 months after this tournament he became a grandmaster. In fact, he's the first player from Iran to win the BL Masters, which he did the next year in year 2019. So let's get started with the game. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4, bishop C5. We see the Geico piano or Italian, whatever we call it. C3, knight F6, D3, D6, bishop B3, A6, H3, H6, knight BD2, castles, rook e8, rook e1. All this is known theory. Bishop e6, bishop c2, bishop a7, knight f1, d5, queen e2, queen d7, knight g3, rook a d8. So we have reached a known position of this opening, but there are many deviations for both the players on the way to this position, and it is very difficult to remember the subtleties, and many strong players even go wrong. It's not easy to remember every fine detail. And Isha has one very interesting characteristic. She plays the opening very fast and she puts pressure on her opponents. So I'm sure she must have played it fast, and the white player, who was rated 2577, was under pressure, and here he played the move d4, which looks like an original idea of white, but it's actually a mistake. After a game is over, it's very easy to tell this move was wrong, that move was wrong, but during the game, every move looks like very unclear, very playable. So it looks very natural to play this move, but again the point is that d4 is not completely controlled by white. So let's have a look at what happened from here onwards. So e into d4 was played, e5 attacking the knight. This was white's idea. Black played knight e4, and the point here is that white cannot take knight into e4. In the game queen d3 was played, but let's see what happens for knight into e4, d into e4, and now queen e4 fails to d3. That's the problem in this line. And after knight e4, d4, if white plays bishop e4, still d3 is very strong. So here white played queen d3, and there is still some questions to be answered on the e4 knight. And here Isha played a nice move, bishop f5. Knight into f5 was played, queen into f5, and here the problem is that white cannot play knight into d4 because queen into f2 and completely lost position for white. So knight d4 is not possible. Also c into d4 does not work because of a nice move, bishop into d4, knight into d4, again queen f2, the same problem, e1 is hanging. So after queen f5, white had to play g4 to drive away the black queen away from f2. Queen g6 was played, and here white took c into d4. Here came a very nice combination. Isha spotted the hanging pieces of white and found a nice idea. Knight b4, very nice move. Queen b3, knight into c2, queen into c2, and here came a nice move, knight g5. Black is using the fact that the queen on c2 is not supported and there is knight f3 with a check and a fork. White played queen e2. White cannot play queen g6 here because of the intermezzo knight f3 check, and the point is king g2 is not coming because of knight e1 check. So after knight g5, white played queen e2, but now white is losing a lot of material. Knight into h3 check, king h2, queen into g4, and this is a completely winning position for black. Black is up material, black is up 2 pawns here, white's king is busted. And it's very interesting that it's only 24 moves, in the game, and getting such a huge advantage with the black pieces in Italian, in Guico piano against a very strong player is really creditable. White played bishop h6. Let's continue and see how the game went from here. Isha played knight f4. Of course, here she cannot take g into h6 because of rook g1. So she played knight f4. Bishop into f4. After knight f4, there is a mate threat on g2. So white took bishop into f4. Queen into f4 check. King h1. And Isha played rook e6. She's planning rook h6 and going for checkmate here. So white played rook g1, and now white's king has this escape square, king g2, king f1. But the problem is that another pawn of white is hanging. So Isha took bishop into d4. White played rook g5, supporting the e5 pawn, planning to double on the g file maybe. But Isha showed here that the e5 pawn was not really supported. She played bishop into e5. The point is that knight into e5 fails to queen into g5, and instead rook into e5 does not work because the king is just very bad here. It has no cover. Rook h6 check is coming, king g1, queen g4, king f1, rook h1, game over, knight g1, rook g1 mate. So after bishop e5, white cannot capture on e5. So in the game, white played queen d3, and Isha grabbed another pawn, bishop b2. She is up a lot of material. She's up 4 pawns, and she has an excellent position, completely winning. Let's see the end. Rook ag1 was played, rook h6, king g2, c6, queen b3, bishop f6 attacking the rook, rook g3, b5, queen a3, bishop h4 attacking the g3 rook again, rook h3, queen g4 check, king h2, and here Isha finished off in style, queen into h3, white resigned because after king h3 there is bishop e7, so there's a check here and the queen is going, black is completely winning. So very nice game, very beautiful finish, a very well played game by Isha. I hope you all enjoyed the nice wins of Isha. Let's wish her a very happy birthday